Good evening. Welcome to Mi Gente On Air, live streaming again here on Tuesday evening here at the Alpha Media Studios at WSGW 100.5 FM and 790 AM. And yes, I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and we're going to talk Cinco de Mayo because we're getting really close, less than 3 weeks now. And by the time this show airs on radio on Sunday nights at 8 p.m., we're going to probably be really close to only 2 weeks left before Cinco de Mayo. So get ready. We got some special guests. We got some special announcements. And I'm really looking forward to this show. And I hope that everyone out there in the live stream land will participate as well, make comments, and give us some feedback because it's also, your show here, Mi Gente On Air, as we celebrate Latino culture in the Great Lakes Bay region. And we continue to celebrate our culture, our concerns, and our contributions. So we'll be right back with Mi Gente On Air.
Welcome to Mi Gente On Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Mi Gente On Air. Thank you for being with me this week. Each week, we try to bring the pulse of the Latino community to the live streaming here and on the radio broadcast, and we bring our culture and concerns to the community and our contributions. And this May 7th, we have our big return of the annual Cinco de Mayo. It's a cultural event that brings about lively spirits and pride for many Latinos while we showcase businesses, organizations, and especially our youth. Saginaw always puts on a good parade and festival, and we're getting our ducks in row to throw one great party. It's our time to shine as a community while we invite the entire community to celebrate with us. So tonight, I want to talk about how we are going forward after 3 years since the last Cinco de Mayo in 2019. Can you believe it? 3 years since 2019. And I have some really special guests. But I want to talk a little bit about the Cinco de Mayo and how it's time to heal. We need to celebrate the return of the Cinco de Mayo. It's April, and members of La Unión Cívica Mexicana are preparing to host the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo. The date is set for May 7th, 2022, with the parade and festival in the works after a 2-year absence due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now it's time to heal. The theme for this year's parade is In Memory, in Memoria, in remembrance of all those we lost over the past 2 difficult years. Many were lost due to the COVID virus, and many for other reasons. Death was all too frequent around us. For some who lost a loved one, the wounds may be too fresh, and we acknowledge your grief. In remembrance of loved ones, we will have an ofrenda, an altar, at Jolt Credit Union Event Park during the festival. We encourage anyone who wants to bring a picture of those we lost during the pandemic to be put on the cultural ofrenda. How do we motivate others to build floats or participate in the parade? That's always something that we have to deal with. And how do we recapture the joy that so many of us lost over the pandemic? We are not the same people we were in March of 2020, at the beginning, at the start of the national lockdown. We have gone through racial reckoning like nothing like since the 1960s, with the death of George Floyd, sparking protests around the world calling for racial equality. We went through a bitter national election that divided our country and left some feeling hopeful and others angered. And this lunacy of some of our political leaders has discouraged many. It's been insane. And all this against the backdrop of a raging pandemic with spikes of positive tests amidst a national debate of whether or not to even get vaccinated. How can we be the same? How can we celebrate anything? Yet we must. We must move forward and heal from the 2 devastating years that have changed our thoughts, made us appreciate life, and made us realize what we have sometimes taken for granted. Change is a given, and these years actually have been incredible. It has been a sad and difficult time, but definitely incredible. We are living in some really momentous times not seen since the 60s that have awakened our self reflection, or at least should have, and our sense of mortality. So, how do we plan for a community celebration? We look to heal. And that's what's really important as we move forward, from this life post pandemic. We still hear of cases around the world, and we still have to be careful, yet we have to move forward and celebrate this return of the Cinco de Mayo. It's that important for our community, for our mental health, for us as human beings on this planet we call Earth. So I hope you will all join me, join the community, join me, Gente On Air, join all of us as we prepare in these last 3 weeks prior to Cinco de Mayo. May 7th is going to come really quick, and I'm hoping and praying like we always do, and I'm asking the Damas de Guadalupe to please pray for a sunny, beautiful day. And I've got a great announcement because I've got a great guest with me here tonight, and he's been on the show before. I want to introduce everybody to one of our special guests, Mr. Bobby Balderrama. How you doing, Bobby?
Oh, great. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's good to see you again, and I thank you for being with us at a short notice here tonight. And tell me what's been going on, Bobby, because you've had some great things happening.
Yeah, since last I talked to you, our song went number one. Any Moment went to number one on Billboard, and it went to number one on Media Base for 2 weeks. And that's really a great achievement that I never thought would happen to me, but, by God's grace, it did, and I feel blessed. And then I just finished up a new single that I'm going to be featured on again. And it's called I'll Be the One. And it's got a female singer, and she's amazing singer, just amazing. So I feel really good about this next song. And then I'm working on my first solo album. It's going to be released in May, and it's going to have Any Moment on there too. And then it's going to have all the songs me and Frankie Rodriguez wrote, and it's going to feature me as a solo artist on there. But I'm looking forward for that too.
Yeah, well, Bobby has been in the music industry. He started Question Mark and the Mysterians, the band, in 1962. And I think you said you were only like 12 years old, so
Yep.
a preteen, believe it or not. And he has been playing music all these years. It's been instrumental, with Question Mark and the Mysterians, and then the Robert Lee Review, and what all that he's doing now. And so we have an announcement to make to the audience. And Chandler, my producer, I'd love for you to put up the announcement. We have Mr. Robert Balderrama, Robert Lee, or Bobby, as you call him, as our parade grand marshal for this year's 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo. So applause for Bobby and his longevity as a career as a musician, and is just a great friend to the Latino community and the community at large. So how does that make you feel, Bobby?
Well, I just want to thank you, Larry, and thank the council, like the Mexican council, for having me be the grand marshal. And I'm totally honored, and I really look forward to this. Like you said, it's been a few years since the Cinco de Mayo parade has happened. So I think it's going to be a great day. The first one we've had in a while. And like you said, we have a sunny day. It'd be great. But I just want to thank you and the Mexican council for having me to be the grand marshal. And God bless.
Okay, we're talking about the Unión Cívica Mexicana.
Yeah.
But Bobby, tell me, what do you remember about Cinco de Mayo? Because you've had to have participated or seen the Cinco de Mayo in the past, right? The parade or
Yep.
the festival.
Yep. Well, I played with a band called Joe King Carrasco and the Crowns back in the '80s, and he lived in Austin, and we used to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, and Joe King was a very good. He loved Latin music, and he made it into more rock and roll, and so I've been celebrating that. And then when we moved back to Michigan, I got two sons, and they celebrated. And I remember them, and my ex-wife at the time, my wife at the time, she helped my sons. They built two lowrider bicycles, and it was just a great time. We went out to the parade, and my two sons had their bicycles, and it was a great time, Larry. Great memories.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always a wonderful thing to see the lowrider cars and the
Yep,
lowrider bikes. And that, it's such a big part for so many years of the annual parade that we've had. And I know that I've seen a lot of young kids riding on those bikes, and they really dress them up nice. And
they do.
they're over there cruising around and everything. And then, 10 years later, we see them growing up as young men, and they're usually involved in bringing the cars as well, the nice
Yep.
lowrider cars to the parade. So there's a lot happening on that day. And so we're going to set you up, Bobby, in a car with
Okay.
maybe a convertible from one of our car dealerships. And we're going to get some banners, on the side of that
Okay.
car. And it's going to say Bobby Balderrama,
Oh, wow. Thank
Parade
you.
Grand Marshal.
Thank you so much.
How does that make you feel right now, Bob?
God, I feel like I got another hit record.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
it's an amazing feat that you accomplished this year with your song going to number one on
right.
Billboard. I know that when we talked on the show, when you came into the studio,
Uh,
it was on the verge of becoming number one. I think it
yep.
was a third, number three or number four. And then
Yep.
it actually, do you know when did it actually become number one? What week in time?
You got me on that one, Larry. I would say about three
February?
weeks ago. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, for you as a musician,
Mhm.
to hit number one, of course, in October of 1966.
Yep.
And then, here in, I think around early, late winter, early spring in 2022. I mean, that's really a long career. And,
That is.
you mentioned to me earlier, Bobby mentioned to me that he had seen the interview with Carlos Santana. And Carlos Santana is another musician who for 6 decades has been putting out hits, and it's amazing to me that here within our midst of Saginaw, we have a musician who also has been at least 6 decades. If we're talking the
Thank
60s,
you.
70s, 80s, not, I mean, geez, Bobby, that's a lot of number of years, right?
I know it. Yep. I promised myself, Larry, when I took a break from question mark Mysterians, I went back to college and to get a degree. I'd never quit playing the guitar. You know, and jazz guitar was my favorite always. Even when I was 9 years old, I used to listen to Wes Montgomery, and Charlie Christensen, and then George Benson. So I mean that was my love. But rock and roll was the easiest thing to do, and I love instrumentals. So that's playing music has always been my first love. But Question Mark Mysterians was a great adventure up for the band, and we're still here, and I look forward to any time we can play as the whole band.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, because you guys are considered legends in the industry, and it's just amazing. When we talked about a month ago, wasn't it, Chandler? Bobby and I talked, or
Mhm.
maybe 2 months ago now. Time is just fleeting. There was so much rock and roll history that you had, that you knew, that you've experienced, and it's pretty amazing. And I think that to be able to hear your stories firsthand, is really an incredible thing, because you lived it. You actually lived it in the 60s and
Yep.
the 70s, and you're still going, Bobby. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm still doing it. I got a new album coming out, so I'm looking for you know great things to happen. As far as my solo career as a jazz guitarist, a writer with Frankie Rodriguez, me and Frankie write all the music, and I'm looking forward for this album to come out, and I hope it does really good for me and Frank.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, the stars are aligned, have been for you for a long time, and I think anything that you put out is going to be great, because I know
Thank you.
every time, like, I see you, like the last time I seen you, believe it or not, was at the well, besides the show, but I'm talking when you performed,
Uh,
was at the Jazz on Jefferson, which is
oh
coming.
yeah.
It's coming up again.
Yep.
Castle Museum. It's always a great celebration of musicians and just good community event for Saginaw and downtown Saginaw. So we really look forward to that as
Thank
well.
you.
And Bobby,
Yep.
when you are going to be on that parade route, we're going north on Washington to downtown
Okay.
Saginaw. What's going to be going through your mind as you see all those people, and you got to get your wave down, you got to
Yep.
make sure. What do you think is going to be going through your mind there?
Well, I remember when Question Mark Mysterians first started. We played for the GI Forum, and it was such a pleasant, uh, environment. With the Mexican culture there. And with the GI Forum, and I feel like it's a repeat. It's I lived in Texas for a long time. And because I played in a band down there. And the Mexican culture, is so strong in Texas, and it's so great to see that here in Michigan too. With the parade, the Cinco de Mayo celebration, and all that. To me, we have to be proud of our culture, and to show our best, our best that we can. All the kids involved, with bicycles and the cars, and just being in the parade, to me, is a privilege, and I feel honored, and I thank you, and I thank everybody that's going to be there.
Yeah, well, we're really looking forward to seeing you with your big smiles, with your blue glasses,
Yep.
and I'm just hoping it's a sunny day, and we're going to be broadcasting live WSGW with Mi Gente on Air on the parade route. So get ready for I'm going to stop your vehicle and I'm going to say, "Hey, Bobby, how's it feel
Yep.
to be Grand Marshal?" I mean, it's we've had a number of great Grand Marshals
Uh-huh.
the years. We really have. And this being the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo, you can imagine all the people that have been the grand parade marshal through the years.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just thrilled that we are able to honor not only our in the past, say maybe our politicians or educators, but we can actually honor somebody who has been involved in music, because as I always say on this program, music is the great unifier. And I
That's
know,
right.
Bobby, you have such an illustrious career. You've been really blessed all these years to have that kind of career and to be
I
able
have.
to still be going at this in 2022
Thank
after
you,
the pandemic, right? So,
and thank you, Larry. I really appreciate that. That's
well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. What did your wife say when you told her?
She was surprised, and she goes, "Wow, that's great," And I told a friend of mine, Dr. Jack Nash, and he goes, "Wow," he goes, "That's really huge," and so I feel honored. I guess that's the best word, honored and blessed. To be here and to be able to do it. You
Yes,
know,
yes, that's awesome. Well, I
Mm,
do want to say that William H. Flores Sr. says, "Congratulations, Bobby." And there's a
thank you,
star right there under his comment. So, people are going to see this. I hope we get some more individuals making comments. Congratulate Bobby if you can, because we're going to put that announcement out there into the community after this program. And we're just thrilled, Bobby. I'm just thrilled for you to be the Grand Marshal this year. And I know you
and
do a great job at it.
thank you. So I'm looking forward to it. It's like I said, it's a great achievement to be invited. And
Yes.
thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for being with us today on Mi Gente on Air. And we're going to continue with the program. And we're
Okay.
just, like I said, thrilled that Bobby Balderrama is the Grand Marshal for the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo parade. We'll see you again, Bobby. I'll
Okay.
be
Thank you, Larry, and God
back.
bless everybody.
Take care.
Okay.
One of the big things that we have to, get ready for is, of course, the beautiful floats of Cinco de Mayo. I wrote a story recently, and it's called "Build It and They Will Come," and it starts out with talking about, just building these floats, because it can be a real challenge, especially in these times. But that's what it makes a parade is the beautiful floats, and so I just want to read some of that story to you tonight. And Veronica Jimenez says congratulations to Bobby as well. And I just want to mention that Veronica, she is with the St. Joseph Catholic Church, and they are getting their youth ready and they're building a float. They were busy last night, and they're going to be pretty busy in the upcoming days, because they are building a float for the St. Joseph Catholic Church. And so I just want to read some of this. Build it and they will come. That's the old adage sometimes used for recruitment when you want to attract people to an event or location. And with the cost of wood increasing in these precarious times, how do you get members of the community to build a float for a parade? When I see the floats, I like to see the colors because I know people put out all their pride and love into their culture, into their floats, said Cynthia Favela, who plans on taking her 3 toddlers to the parade. I've always loved going to the Cinco de Mayo since I was little, too, and to hear the music and the taste, the good food, and watch everyone have fun. It's the best part, especially for the kids, because they're the ones that have the most fun out there, and that's all I need to see. Finding a trailer or finding old wood, making flowers are all part of the process of having a Cinco de Mayo float. Some will choose to dress up a car, and that's okay, but to witness a float gliding down the parade's path with people waving with smiles always brings out feelings of pride. Motivation is a big factor. A sense of community is also important, and having friends to assist any business, family, or organization is always a plus. And I just want to mention and give credit to Alberto Jimenez, or Beto as he is called. In 2011, he built 5 floats due to the lack of participation from the community. He built floats for the Unión Cívica Mexicana, Maria's Restaurant, El Rancho Grande, Saginaw's Perceptions, La Estrella Bakery, and the Great Lakes Bay Hispanic Leadership Institute. When asked what motivated him that year, he wasn't hesitant in his answer. Just the lack of motivation from the community, Jimenez said. We had a lot of cars in the parade, and that's not bad, but we needed floats. We are people that know how to build, and we're creative, and we can showcase all the colors from all parts of Mexico or our culture here in Saginaw. In 2009, La Estrellas Bakery, which is owned by Beto's parents, Santos and Bernada Jimenez, they had a beautiful float. It was a beautiful representation of their business with colors red and green of the Mexican flag. In 2011, he made a float for the past queens of the Civica, and it rained, but that didn't stop them. The queens held umbrellas, wearing sashes representing years as queens from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. The gesture to bring back the past queens to the ride afloat in the Cinco de Mayo parade brought up feelings of nostalgia and simpler times. It means a lot to me when I see the representation of Mexican people, their business, and their story, said Berta Davila, who makes a lot of handmade flowers for occasions throughout the year. With all the pretty flowers and colors, it makes me feel happy and proud. Sometimes organizations plan way ahead, while others sometimes wait to the last minute. Either way, when a group works together to bring about a float, the results can be impressive and heartwarming. Members of the Civica would like to encourage everyone to build a float for the upcoming parade. Build it, and they will come. This is an important part of Saginaw Cinco de Mayo celebration. Andale. So there you have it. And I just want to make an announcement here because we have a very special guest for our celebration. And he has been with us before, and he's coming on again here. I want to make an announcement and show the banner for the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo. Our headliner is Mr. Michael Salgado. 43rd annual. Michael, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear from San Antonio, Texas. How do you feel? How do you feel about coming back to Saginaw, Michigan?
Oh, I feel great. You know, the fans out there are always so, energetic. And so every time we've been out there in the past years, the crowd has been really great, and so we're looking forward to going back, being out there with everybody. Now esta celebración de Cinco de Mayo, ¿no? Por ahí invitamos a toda la raza to come out and join us. And, got some great music for you guys, some new stuff as well that we're preparing for everybody out there real soon.
Well, Michael Salgado, he really helped us from losing the Cinco de Mayo in 2009. If anybody remembers way back then, we almost lost the Cinco de Mayo for Saginaw. And at the time, I was thinking, how can we bring back, come in full force? And Michael agreed to be with us. He was in the parade, and then he was, on the island at Ojibwe Island. And it was an incredible return to Saginaw because he's been here a few times. But I think that was a great performance for us because it really made people realize that, we're a little old Saginaw here, but, we're just like any other great community that celebrates their Tejano roots, especially here in Saginaw, as well as their Mexican culture. So we're excited. We're going to have Michael Salgado. And Michael, we're going to come back. We're going to go into commercial real quick here, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows we got you as the headliner, and we're really excited about that. And thank you for being with us again, because you truly are an icon within the musical industry, within the Tejano music and Mexican music, and we're just so looking forward to having you again.
Thank you very much. Glad to be a part of it.
And Joanne Vasquez, she's a fan of yours. She says Saginaw, Michigan loves your music, Michael.
Thank you, Joanne.
Cynthia Favela, she says, all right, can't wait. And Veronica Jimenez, awesome. So, I mean, we're already getting some good response. If you got a question for Michael, we got the next 28 minutes with Michael Salgado here as our headliner for the annual Cinco de Mayo of Saginaw. We'll be right back, everyone, on Mi Gente On Air. All right. So we are live streaming still here at the Mi Gente On Air Studios, which is the Alpha Media Studios at WSGW 790 AM and 100.5 FM. And I want to encourage everybody who's out there listening or watching on the live stream on Facebook, go ahead and make comments. This is your Cinco de Mayo. You know, we're getting ready to return back after, it's going to be 3 years since 2019 when we had our last celebration. And Saginaw has always put on a great Cinco de Mayo for 43 years. You know, it's been the gem. It's, you know, been the signature event of the Unión Cívica Mexicana. And the last time we had Chris Perez in 2019 as a celebration, and at the Huntington Event Park, which is now, as we announced just last week, Jolt Credit Union Event Park. So we got a new name. And we're going to go back into the show real quick here, and we're going to talk more with Michael Salgado, our headliner.
You're listening to Mi Gente On Air on WSGW.
Welcome back, Mi Gente. Thank you for being with us again here on Mi Gente On Air, where we celebrate culture, and as well as we celebrate our contributions, and we celebrate just life. And today we have a special guest with us here, Michael Salgado. He's going to be headlining the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo of Saginaw, the great celebration that we have in the Great Lakes Bay region that is as important as any celebration, whether it's the Greek festival or the Bavarian festival. The Cinco de Mayo is also a big celebration. So, Michael, tell me, what's been going on with you out there in San Antonio as we come out of this pandemic?
Well, we've been, you know, as you know, 2020, well, everybody was kind of shut down. And so, you know, 2021, we started to get back to work here a little bit here and there. And, you know, and COVID was still kind of a big factor, you know. And so we got to work some in 2021. Gracias a Dios, pues now, you know, it's kind of, you know, COVID's kind of been going down some now. And so thank God. And so looking forward to, you know, we've been working now this 2022 and been putting together, you know, some new things. Got some new mariachi music that's going to be coming out. I recorded a few tributes to Vicente Fernández, ¿no? Como temas como Acá Entre Nos, Botas de Charro. I also did another oldie that entitled Aquellos Ojitos Verdes, ¿no? And también Cruz de Olvido. So those, to mention a few, those are going to be a few of the songs. I'm probably going to try to do a couple more to kind of put together an EP de canciones al estilo mariachi para toda la gente, ¿no? Something a little different. And I haven't done something like that in a while. I've always put a mariachi or two on a record, but I'm going to do, you know, probably about 6 of them this time. And I hope people enjoy them. I got to perform the single that's coming out pretty soon, which is Aquellos Ojitos Verdes. I got to perform that out here at the Tejano Explosion in San Antonio a few weeks ago con un mariachi en vivo. And so it was great, you know, and it was also a live performance that we were doing that day that'll be coming out here pretty soon, probably on YouTube, different things like that. I did also a live performance with an actual country band that backed me up with a few country songs. I'm still continuing recording new country music as well. But that was the first time, so it was exciting to use a country band, you know, live. I've always kind of done my country stuff with a playback in different areas. So I want to kind of start doing that in the shows, you know, maybe do a package where I do mariachi and country in the band, you know, and bring that show to my audience, hopefully in the future. And so that's kind of what's in the works this year. We're hoping we can get that going in different places. But yeah, it was exciting to do the country. I've got a new country song will be coming out for Father's Day. It's entitled "I'll Take It From Here." You know, it's kind of a father-son song. You know, kind of a tear jerker. So, you know, I hope that you guys that have, you know, maybe that close to your dad or have lost your dad, you know, it's really gonna hit a nerve, and great song. I'm doing another song also that'll come out later this year entitled "If I'm Gone." And that's also going to be kind of a very personal song because it talks about, you know, this lady who has, you know, cancer, and she's, you know, they did the chemo and the radiation and all these things. And so, you know, she's telling her husband, if I'm gone, you know, make sure to call her children every day. So it's very heartfelt type of song. It'll be coming out hopefully later this year.
Wow.
And so yeah, working on some different music. Of course, con el grupo también, música de acordeón, pues no puede faltar las canciones al estilo de nosotros, ¿no? And so I'm working on that as well. Algunas canciones nuevas. We're doing a few covers, and we're gonna do some new stuff as well. But I've got a few covers that you know, old tunes from the past that kind of redid my style. So we're hoping people enjoy those as well. So getting ready to release some of that later. But the new song that I'll be releasing will be Al Estilo Mariachi, ¿no? Que es Aquellos Ojitos Verdes. And of course, we've got a lot of shows lined up for this year, a lot of different festivals throughout the year that are already coming up. I've got a festival this Sunday up in the Dallas area that we're going to be doing. Of course, Saturday, I've got a private event that I'm doing in the Valley. I believe it's a wedding. And so Sunday, we'll be doing this Sunday, the festival out there in Dallas. Then, of course, the following week, we're going to be in Tucson, Arizona. We'll be performing at Casino del Sol para toda la raza por allá de Arizona. Tucson, Phoenix area. Come out and join us. We're going to be out there for that as well. Then we've got a couple of shows here in Texas, in La Mesa, Texas. We've got the Chicken Fried Steak Festival that they have out there on the 30th of April. 31st, we're going to be doing a event con la Guadalupe Church in Midland, Texas. And then we're going to be doing Cinco de Mayo. We're going to be doing another show here in Belton, Texas. Cinco de Mayo Fest that we're having out there. We also got an opener band that's going to be performing out there with us. So that's all la raza por allá de Belton. Come out, join us. And of course, we'll be out there with you guys, Saginaw, Michigan. Looking forward to
you know, it's really something that this is happening then, you know, with you, Michael, because, you know, you talk about this music that you got coming out, especially the one, you know, with about the father and the son and the lady with the cancer and all, because this celebration that we're having for the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo, the theme is in memory, in memoria, you know, for all those that we have lost in these last 2 years of this COVID pandemic. And we've all been affected, you know, we've all have been hurt. There are people who are still grieving, and we recognize that grief, as I said earlier in the show. But, you know, we do have to move on, and we have to recognize that. And so not only are we going to have that as a theme, you know, with our floats in the parade, but we're also going to have an ofrenda at the Jolt Credit Union Event Park.
Nice.
Where people can bring their pictures of their loved ones that they've lost. And, you know, I lost my father in 2020. So that's going to be something to hear your song. And I got to tell you, I've been listening to your country music. I mean, your voice with that music, I mean, it just goes hand in hand, and it's so good. And if anybody out there hasn't heard his country stuff, you got to hear it, because I mean, it's some really good stuff. And I know that, like, last year, you know, during the pandemic, you also went through that winter storm, you know, and you were putting a bucket out there for the snow so you'd have water in the house. I mean,
yeah, it was
fine times for you too.
Yeah, it was a crazy time, and yeah, I was out there, you know, getting buckets of ice and heating them up in the stove, and you know, and different things for to have water for the toilets, and because we had a period of time. Luckily for us, you know, I think we lost power maybe a day, but there was people that lost power a few days, and so it was tough out here last year. And you know, I don't think Texas was kind of prepared for that kind of weather, and so you know, they're still trying to get those things you know, taken care of out here. And so, but it you know, this year was kind of cold, but it wasn't as bad as the year prior. And so you know, in COVID, you know, I had a cousin and had an aunt, a few family members that passed away. And so, you know, I sent all my condolences to everyone out there who did have a family member who passed in the COVID time. And so, you know, it was a tough time, and something that I think a lot of us had never experienced in our lifetime. And so, you know, it was definitely something that was unexpected. And so very glad, thank God, that, you know, we're starting to move past that, and hopefully, you know, we can learn from that, and just experiences of life, and not take life for granted, and do right, and do good by one another. You know, it's important, because, you know, life is short, and, you know, ain't no need in wasting it in anger and different things like that. And, you know, it don't cost anything to be nice.
Absolutely. Nicely said. You know, in 2009, I mentioned about the Cinco de Mayo, and it doesn't seem that long ago to me, but actually it was 13 years ago. Do you remember you were riding in the parade, and you were celebrating with us on the island? And what do you remember about that time in Saginaw? Because you even went around and you were like greeting people and talking to all the people at the parade and at the event.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that, you know, vaguely, but I do remember, you know, being on a float and going to the parade, and everybody was, you know, so nice and saying hello, and so it was a nice experience. Of course, also out there for the performance later as well, you know, and I'm surprised, because, man, I sometimes don't remember what I did last week, but I do remember being out there for that event. And actually, I didn't remember that it had been so far back, 13 years. But, you know, just great experience. I remember that.
Yeah. You know, we have a number of people who are making comments. I just, Dolores Vasquez is saying, Michael, I have your Pandora station downloaded. So
thank you.
And she's going to be out there at the festival. She's got a photo business, a photo booth, and she'll be out there. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you, Dolores. And we've also got Val Blanco. She says, that song is about Val Blanco, just saying. what she's a fan as well. And you know, she's asking, will he be in the parade again? Well, we'll have to see. That's up to Michael. But you know, it was truly an honor to have you, you know, as part of the Cinco de Mayo parade. And I think that, you know, it helped us to keep going forward from that point on, because like I said, we almost lost the parade and the festival. And, you know, for us, the Unión Cívica Mexicana, to be doing this for 43 years, I mean, it's quite an accomplishment. It's a feat.
Definitely.
And we have had the help from people like Michael Salgado, who has, you know, been the headliners. And we're just so thrilled again that, you know, here, as we're returning back from this pandemic, you know, we're returning after, you know, it's been 3 years since the last festival, that we're going to have you again, you know, as our headliner, and help us.
It's great. I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know, I think that just in general, the fans out there are looking forward to this event. And, just kind of getting some, normality again, and things going kind of to normal. And I mean, of course, you gotta, can't let your guard down, but things are going kind of back to normal. So I think that it's great for the fans and everybody who really did enjoy the Cinco de Mayo event in the past, and I'm glad to be a part of that and to be coming back now that after COVID and being able to enjoy and have a good time with everybody out there.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that I've talked about on this program. How it's good for our mental state. These festivals and to hear the music and
Yeah,
to not have to wear the mask and just everything that we've been through, and it's just going to be hopefully a wonderful celebration all around. And it's important that we heal from what we've
yes,
been through as a people, because it has been difficult, and more difficult to some who lost loved ones, but we've all been affected. So I
yeah,
want to ask you, how are people, because you mentioned a few of the different places that you're going to be playing at in Colorado, California. How do you see the people, the gente, from those cities, as well as of course Tejas, where you're
right,
from, but and comparing it to Saginaw, the people you've seen, because you've been here at least 3-4 times, right?
right. Well, we've been very fortunate when we do those different events out in Arizona is another great state, kind of like Saginaw, where the crowd is very energetic and just a lot of love out there. And we're going to be in Brighton, Colorado for another festival out there in August. And so everybody everywhere kind of we've done some festivals out in Washington area, out to the West Coast. And so the crowds are just great. We've been very fortunate that everybody's been so loving to us. And so but it is it is just amazing how the crowd is up north, Saginaw, all those areas, and Chicago, different areas of Indiana, and those areas, the crowd is really hyped, and you can really tell that they really enjoy having you there. And because Texas, they have us out here a lot, and we're from around this area, and so we perform the different cities here probably a couple of times a year. And sometimes we only get out up north once a year, and so the people are really excited to see us, and so we really feed off that energy. Makes it for a great show.
Yeah, yeah. The Unión Cívica Mexicana had Michael Salgado, I think, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And I mean, the place was packed, jam packed in the historic Union Civica. The parking lot was a mess. I mean, everything was just like heightened to a different level. And we weren't expecting, well, we were expecting it, but we hadn't experienced it. So it was difficult from that standpoint. But I mean, the crowd just loved you. They always love you. They love your brother Ernie. They just love the whole show that you put on, because you take us back to that nostalgic time, in the Tejano heyday, and then you've got all the new hits. And I remember in 1990, I think it was 1997 or 98, at the Tejano Music Awards, and
Right,
you got best male award for the Tejano Music Award. And I can remember you in that. You had a white suit on that had it was decorated, it was blinged out, and you had that
right.
white, and you came out in the back, and I mean, how are you, that young Michael Salgado, from back then? How are you different today, would you say? I mean, because obviously you've had life experiences and you've had a long career.
Right.
What would you say to that young performer way back then at the Tejano Music Awards, winning Best Male Vocalist?
Well, it was definitely a great experience, and I think that back then, I think I was probably 20, 25, give or take. And so for me, it was all a new experience, and just really thrilled. I think that I would be excited for that young Mike Salgado today, because it would just, we had, I think we had performed, probably 8 to 10 years in bars, and trying to make it. And finally we recorded Cruz de Madera late 94, came out 95. So just all the experience that we were living with that hit from 94, 95, 96 to 97, all the awards, winning the award for Cruz de Madera was just, it was incredible, dream come true for me. And because it was just something that we had worked for so many years and finally got the chance without really knowing, because there's some bands that there's new bands out there that are trying to make it. And, there's really no secret as to, whether you're going to make it or not. It just, si te toca, te toca. And hopefully it does to some of you new guys out there, but it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of discipline. You got to be serious about it. Give it 100%, and it is possible, but there's just no guarantee. You just got to be, I guess, at the right place, the right time, with the right song. I mean, definitely has to be the right song, and so, but all the pieces have to fit, in the puzzle. And so for me, it was, being, had that right song and Cruz de Madera, and, and when it came out, the people could identify to it. I think toda la raza could identify with the song, raza tejana, raza mexicana, porque, cuando te mueres, pues, nomás que es una cruz de madera, no quieres nada de lujos, nada de, nothing valuable. You just want, a humble cross, and, and you want, your family and a big old fiesta going on, to remember you by. And so I think it was just that strong of a song. And so, I think that all those pieces came together, but just looking back at, the struggles that young guy had, and the things that he was able to accomplish, it's just, I guess I go back and say, man, you were able to do it. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, Saginaw and the Great Lakes Bay region, we're really lucky because we're blessed, to have the Michael Salgado with all that experience, all those years of performing. He's going to be headlining our 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo. We're just thrilled about it. And, we got Val Blanco on here. She says, will your son or Ernie's sons be coming out and playing with you guys? Love to see another generation on Salgado Entertainment.
Yes, my son actually, Andres will be out there. He'll be performing some of his songs. Actually, he will be releasing a new single entitled Más Seguidores, which has to do with social media, things that are happening today, right? Where the girl that this song is about, she just wants likes and, as many as she can get. So it kind of has to do with social media. And
we lost you. Did we lose his audio? There you are.
May 20th, we'll be putting out that new song under solo records. Andres Salgado will be looking out for it. Más Seguidores. He'll be, of course, out there performing it before it comes out on May 7th. He'll be with us out there. So, be ready for he's going to be doing Amor el Bote, Búscate a Alguien, and of course, the new song, Más Seguidores. So make sure to come and check him out. Of course, trying to get him placed. And, even he gets impatient sometimes on, well, when am I going to get that right song? And I said, well, son, there's no magic to it. It's just, it's got to be the right song, but it has to do with the right song and, at the right time. And so, we just got to keep working it until that happens. So, because when I started, I recorded at that time it was 3 albums, 3 cassettes, and I thought on the first cassette, I was going to make it, and it just doesn't happen that way. So it takes some time. So, I'm going to be working his career as well, and try to get him the right song so he can, start to get his name known out there. But like I told him, it's just going to take some work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Val Blanco, again, she says, oh my God, I'll be front and center stage. I'm ready.
All right.
Thank you so much for your appearance here today with us. We're so looking forward to having you on the show. And my producer Chandler, I'm not hearing myself right in here, but he has put up the different pictures and of the parade, as well as the announcement for Michael as Bobby as the Grand Marshal and Michael as a headliner. So we had some great announcements today, and we've got Val Blanco and Toyo Rosas. They're all on here making comments, and it's just a wonderful time to of like you said, normalcy. We're coming back. We're coming out of this. What we've been, and we had no idea that it was going to be this long, and here we are, 3 years since the last Cinco de Mayo celebration in 2019. And we're going to have Michael Salgado headlining here in Saginaw, Michigan. Any last thoughts, Michael? Give it to us.
Well, looking forward to seeing everybody out there here real soon. Like you said, after so much time, glad to be back. Also want to thank Familia Cavazos, that had a part in this. And so to Santiago, por ahí, and Anita, and hopefully we'll see them out there as well. Pero to everybody, thank you guys for the continuous support. Remember to follow me out there on all my social media. And si Dios quiere, we'll see you guys May 7th. We'll see you out there.
Thank you so much. Si Dios quiere. Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for being again here on Mi Gente On Air. We had a big announcement. Michael Salgado for the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo of Saginaw. We're so grateful that he is going to be a part of this return of the annual Cinco de Mayo to the Great Lakes Bay region. So again, thank you so much for joining me here on this live stream and on the show, which will be aired on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. on WSGW. We'll see you again next week with more announcements. Hasta luego. There you have it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here. Great feedback from everybody. And thank you again, Michael, out there in San Antonio. And thank you just for, just being you and how great you've been all these years as a musician. And, you've just, you've set the bar, man. And we thank you so much. We really feel like you're part of the family here of the Unión Cívica. We've had you like 3 times. This is like your second Cinco de Mayo. So, we're really happy that we've had that relationship all these years. And thank you also, like you mentioned, Santiago, because he was a part of this and getting you to come out to Saginaw. So thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Let's get back to your life out there in San Antonio.
Take care. We'll see y'all. Take care.
Bye-bye. And there you have it. Tejano royalty in the house with Michael Salgado. So we'll see you again next week here on Mi Gente On Air. Thanks, everyone, for joining me.